Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation. And that is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus a so-called black man, all right? Now, what you see on the screen here is a photo of a family that, in my estimation or in my opinion, they're using to sell a product, okay? Because this is what you want, to sell whatever it is that you're selling. And in this case, it's the ability to speak and talk again after contracting this, what this guy has, ALS. It's a syndrome. Okay? And this photo, this image is exactly what you want to plaster or show the public of being a family man. Okay? You have a presumably well-to-do Christian conservative looking family with a wife and a husband and their 3 children. Okay? Now it just so happened that the husband has ALS, okay? And the wife is his caretaker. Now the type of ALS that this man has is nonverbal. So now what you're going to witness is through the technology of this brain microchip, not only can he talk, I want you to get ready. Not only can he talk, but what I'm about to play you, he edited and put together using the Neuralink brain chip. This YouTube clip that you're finna see here, he put it together with the Neuralink brain chip, okay? Keep that in mind when I hit play, all right? And I'm only going to play a few minutes, and then I'll get the article to expound upon it a little bit further, and then maybe a couple of precepts or two, and then we'll close out. So get ready to see what this guy put together with the assistance or aid of a microchip implant. Okay, here it is, without any further wait.
Hi, I am Brad Smith. I'm the 3rd person in the world to receive the Neuralink brain implant. I'm also the first person with ALS and the first nonverbal, which means that I rely on it for all communication. I am making this video using the brain-computer interface to control the mouse on my MacBook Pro. This is the first video edited with the Neuralink, and maybe the first edited with a BCI. This is my old voice narrating this video.
So I hope you're getting the gist of it already. A BCI, just in case you don't know, is a brain-computer interface, okay? Now they're using his old voice to narrate this video. This is all done by the way of what? Fake miracles, man. Okay? This guy has ALS, the nonverbal type, okay? So all of this is being uploaded and put into a file, and he's using this brain chip to do all of this, okay?
Cloned by AI from recordings before I lost my voice. I want to explain how
So just take a moment and realize what he said. If you have your voice recorded anywhere saved on a hard drive or a file, AI can use that voice and allow you to talk and speak. So if you do videos like these and you lose your voice or whatever, and you have to use this brain microchip, AI can predict and put words together with the sound of your voice that you had before whatever it is that took place that caused you to lose your voice. Yes, these are the times that we're in.
Neuralink has impacted my life and give you an overview of how it works. I have ALS, a really weird disease that kills the motor neurons that control my muscles, but not affecting my mind. My experience has been pretty interesting, starting with a shoulder injury that would not heal and ending up with my current status. I cannot move anything but my eyes, and I am totally reliant on a ventilator to keep me alive and breathing. My wife, Tiffany, is the best caregiver I could ever imagine. She does everything for me, with only our kids and friends and family to help. She is the key to making Neuralink.
Man, this is going to be a great selling point for when they bring this out to the public, man. They're doing trials right now. This is the third patient. Okay? Just wait when they get ready to sell this to the public. Because for the most part, the majority of the people have no idea that these trials are going on right in front of their eyes, man. Because why? They're not occupied with prophecy, okay? So when this devil brings these stories out and put them out in front of the eyes of the public, they're going to eat it up, man. Okay? They're going to eat it up. All right?
Work. I will stop talking about her because she doesn't like the attention. Before Neuralink, I had to use an eye gaze control computer for all communication. It is a miracle of technology, but it is frustrating. It works best in dark rooms. So I was basically Batman. I was stuck in a dark room. Neuralink lets me go outside and ignore lighting changes. So how does Neuralink work? The implant is in my motor cortex, which is the part of my brain that controls body movement. The actual implant is the size of 5 US quarters in a stack. It replaced the hole in my skull. The threads are placed by a robot just a few millimeters into my brain, avoiding the blood vessels so there is almost no bleeding. It connects to the computer via Bluetooth, and the computer does a lot of processing. This is a feed from the 1024 electrodes in my brain. In green, it looks like the Matrix. This is the raw signal that my brain is giving the computer. The computer has to decide what is important, finding the signal and ignoring the noise. The Neuralink implant embedded in my brain contains 1024 electrodes that capture neuron firings every 15 milliseconds, generating a vast amount of data. AI processes this data on a connected MacBook Pro to decode my intended movements in real time to move the cursor on my screen. Neuralink does not read my deepest thoughts or words I think about. It just reads.
Hey, and that's what you believe, okay? Because if they could predict what your movement and intentions are, how you believe that they're not going to read your deepest thoughts, okay?
How I want to move and moves the cursor where I want. How do I train the system?
So this is just to show you and clear things up. This is what we're witnessing right here is how a person with the brain link with the brain chip calibrates and sets the device to their likings. Okay, they have to go through these certain tasks and obstacles to dial in. Okay, this is what we're witnessing right here. He's showing you how he's dialing in using the brain chip. Okay, so that it can get more familiar and up close and personal with him.
This is how I train the system to interpret my intended movements. I move the cursor to the bubble and hold over it until it disappears. The yellow targets are just for holding over, and the blue targets are for clicking. We initially tried to move my hand to control the cursor, but it was not doing well. After a lot of research and mapping how body movements match the signals from my brain, Neuralink engineers found that my tongue was the best for moving the cursor, and clenching my jaw was best for clicking. So I trained.
So he's using his tongue to move the cursor, and then he's using his jaw to click on it. Okay? And this is how he's making the video. Okay? He's doing all this from the thought and process of his head and executing it out with his mouth and tongue. All right.
The system with my tongue and it works much better. I am not actively thinking about my tongue, just like you don't think about your wrist when you move a mouse. I have done a lot of cursor movements in my life. I think my brain has switched over to subconscious control quickly, so I just think about moving the cursor. This is WebGrid. It is the way Neuralink and others use to.
This is now another test that he has to go through so that this brain chip can dial in even further and get more up close and personal with him even more. Okay.
Quantify how well they are able to decode intentions. I click boxes and it measures my score. If I click outside the target, my score goes down. I have reached a top score of 5. My score was less than 1 before Neuralink with eye gaze. You can try WebGrid on Neuralink.com/WebGrid, and you can see how fast you are. Tools to make it work. This is the mixer, which has tools to adjust how the cursor behaves. First is bias correction, because the brain is.
So you can personalize this thing, okay? You can personalize this brain chip. If you're just beginning or starting off and you need the cursor to go slow, you can adjust it to a slower tempo. And if you're somewhat of a veteran or a pro at it, you can adjust it to go faster, okay? So this is Esau Edom's attempt of giving said individual back their independency, okay? Not only are you able to talk, but you're able to talk with your own voice, okay? Not no more having to use a AI computer generated voice of somebody else. But now you're going to be able to use your own voice. Imagine having your loved ones who haven't heard you speak or talk for however long can now hear you talk again for the first time, albeit by the way of AI, but you can barely tell this is an AI. If I just uploaded this video and told you this was a person talking, you would think it was a real person talking, not AI. All right? This is where we at right now with it.
Constantly changing, the cursor drifts over time. So it is like the cursor moves in a random direction. This tool lets me adjust how the cursor drifts. This is a great reason why Neuralink is doing human trials, because the monkeys cannot explain how the cursor drifts. Monkeys just give up when bias gets difficult and want snacks. They are like my children in that way. This is the speed control. It changes the speed that the cursor moves around. Speed also changes across different models and over time. Able-bodied people can adjust the mouse speed dynamically, and I can do that a bit. But the speed control sets the baseline speed for the cursor. I adjust it often. These are friction and smoothing that are more advanced settings that refine cursor movements. They might change as Neuralink develops the system.
So this person can really dial in, okay? Can really get the cursor to his liking. All right? All by just thinking and using his tongue and his mouth to click and move around with it. He has made this video that we're currently witnessing. All right? This is those false miracles, man. Those lying wonders, okay? Let's go and get the article on this and let's see if it says anything else in the article, and then we get a couple of precepts. Give me 1 second. So this is the article from Fox Business. It says, third Neuralink brain implant patient able to communicate despite nonverbal ALS. Okay, let's see if we can highlight that. Let's see if we can do a word set. A web. So it says ALS is a disease affecting motor neurons of the spinal cord, which causes progressive weakness and atrophy of muscles. So I guess it's a disease that makes you feel weaker and weaker as it progresses, okay? To the point where you can no longer move or lift your arms, your legs. It just becomes like, I can only guess, dead weight, okay? But now, through this technology, all you need is your brain, okay? And that's all Esau Edom is after anyways, man, is your brain, all right? Your mind, your spirit, everything else, he could care less, you know? He could easily give you some type of technology and pair it up with this device and have your arms and legs working temporarily, man. All right, he wants to control your mind, all right, your central nervous system, your CNS, okay? So let's go back to that article. It reads, the third human to receive a Neuralink brain implant who has nonverbal ALS I knew it's got it. Okay, so we was able to figure out nonverbal ALS. So let's look at this. It says nonverbal ALS, AR overview, and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. I guess that's what it stands for. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. Communication challenges arise from muscle weakness, affecting the ability to speak, write, or use other methods of communications. Okay? So nonverbal, you can't speak, you can't write, or you can't use other methods of communications. But through this Neuralink, this modern day breakthrough technology, now you can write. Now you can speak, okay? It says, as the disease progresses, many individuals with ALS will experience difficulties with verbal speech, potentially leading to nonverbal communications, right? So they're pretty much like in a vegetable state, okay? They can't speak, they can't talk, they can't write, they can't do anything. But through the advent or miracle of this brain chip, now they can. And not only can they speak, but they can speak in their own voice, okay? So this is the false prophet and the false miracles, okay? So now let's go back to the article. It says, the third human to receive a Neuralink brain implant who also has nonverbal ALS, which now we know is a disease that allows you to not be able to speak or write or talk or any method of communication. So you can't even do sign language, okay? It says, now able to speak in his own voice. This is the kicker. You can now speak in your own voice, all right? No more having to listen to that Siri or that Google guy or whatever robot you want to call it. Now you can have your own voice talking to you, man. So it's like your conscience thinking out loud. Okay? It says it's now able to speak in his own voice. That's the kicker, man. You can now speak in your... It wasn't good enough that you could just speak, but they had to up it one and allow you to speak in your own voice. Man, that's going to be a selling point for a lot of people who haven't heard, you know, their husband or their father or their brother speak in a long time due to this disease, man. To hear them speak and talk in their own voice, you know they're going to shed a tear, man. And it ain't even them. It's AI fooling them, but allowing them to believe that is their loved one talking to them. All right? That's that what do you call that? Familiar spirit. Okay? That's that familiar spirit, man. And we're not supposed to what is the word I'm looking for? Because I believe Saul, or not Saul, but one of the prophets, not conducted, but sought to seek familiar spirits. Okay, and when he found and consulted, when he consulted with a familiar spirit, that familiar spirit told him that what? You're going to be joining me the next day. Okay, so guess what? These miracles that these people are thinking they're going to be performing, they're all familiar spirits. This AI is a familiar spirit, man. You're consulting with familiar spirits, man. It says, who has nonverbal ALS is now able to speak in his own voice thanks to the advanced technology combined with artificial intelligence. That's that familiar spirit. Brad Smith said in a video on X that even though having the disease sucks, he is happy and God has answered his prayers and life is good. You see? This wasn't the work of God. This was the work of Satan. Okay? Deceiving you. It says he also talked about his journey with ALS and the hope he was given after becoming the third human to receive a Neuralink brain transplant. So the lying wonders are here, man. The false miracles are only going to upgrade as we get closer to them bringing it out to the public. It says Neuralink, which was started by billionaire Elon Musk, said in a blog post in January that there are 3 people with telepathy, able to communicate with your mind, including Brad. So this is where we at. You're able to communicate with your mind, your brain, consulting, familiar spirits, AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, because that's all the word demon goes into. It's intelligent. All right, this AI is nothing but a demon, man. It's an intelligent demon. Okay, able to what? Allow you to believe that you're using your own voice to talk and communicate and speak with. All right. Matter of fact, we might go back to that video and look at some of the comments just so you can see and then get a few precepts. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so let's look at excuse me. So let's look at some of the comments that's put on this video that Brad uploaded using the Neuralink. I'm speechless, not because of ALS, but because of this wonderful explanation of Neuralink and the joy of life and faith in Jesus Christ by Bradford Smith. You see? The deception is already here, man. Okay? It says the big picture is I am happy. Stunning. Thank you, Brad. I had no idea and was completely wrong about what I thought it was. This is one of the most phenomenal things I've ever seen. Thank you for sharing. See how they can get you to change your view just by putting a family guy up there with his wife and his children and his story and how well this implant has allowed him to obtain independency again and use his own voice. A lot of people are going to easily take this when it's introduced. It reads, this is Joe Ross. This wins the internet today. Mind-blowing. Just imagine how his wife reacted after listening to his AI clone voice after so many years. Right. she probably was blown away, man. Okay? I can guarantee you if he was on the phone talking and she didn't know that that was an AI, she would think that she was actually talking to him on the phone. Okay? I have had the privilege of being in the same Christian congregation as Brad. You see? This is why you so-called Christians is going to take this chip, man. People just like Brad. Christians. Faith-based Christians that don't have faith. Okay? That's what they call, what's the word I'm looking for? That's an oxymoron. You say you have faith, but yet you take this chip. Okay? That's going to show you when the time comes for them to roll this out. A lot of you so-called Christians are going to take this chip. Why? Because y'all oxymorons. You want to have faith, but then you don't want to have faith. You want to have faith, and that you say you believe in Jesus Christ, but then you don't want to have faith because you will take a device that who you call Jesus Christ condemns. And you know it. All right? But to save face, to have your loved ones to be able to speak again, you're going to take it. And you're going to convince them to take it. Whatever Neuralink and Grok, because Grok is now a better update version of ChatGPT, it says, are giving you, Bradford, you are giving back in spades and enhancing the lives of so many others in the future. Truly inspirational. Showing how amazing humanity can be. So the fix is out, man. All right. This thing is going to take the people by surprise, man. All you got to do is get you a nice image of a Christian, conservative, value family and have one of the members with some type of ailment or something that this brain chip can fix, and they're going to sell it just like that. Brad is the case study. He's a so-called white conservative Christian who just so happened to have a disease by the name of AL and the last letter S, and this brain chip is now able to give him back that sense of independency by allowing him to talk in his own voice. And the people are eating it, hook, line, and sinker. Okay? The stage is being set. If you can't see it, you need to get your head up out of your you-know-what, man. All right? So let's get a few precepts. So this is the book of 1 Samuel 28, and I looked it up. It was Saul that inquired the familiar spirit, because why? Yahweh would not answer him. So this is 1 Samuel 28, and we jump down to verse 6. It says, and when Saul inquired of Yahweh, Yahweh answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Okay? So the Most High wasn't dealing with Saul anymore, man. Okay? And it says, then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that have a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that have a familiar spirit at Endor. Okay? So Paul went to go seek this woman that had a familiar spirit. And it goes on to show that when he went to seek her and he kind of deceives her, when she was promised that she wouldn't be killed, she conjured up the spirit, and the spirit told Saul that he would be seeing him in tomorrow, roughly paraphrasing, okay? So what are you doing when you get this technology put inside your brain? You're seeking or consulting familiar spirits and pursuing to the law. We're not supposed to do that. Let's go there and read that in Leviticus. This is Leviticus 19 and verse 31. It reads, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am Yahweh your power. So you see, we're not supposed to seek after this technology, because once you put this inside your body, That's you consulting with this technology, okay? See, as of right now, we're using this system, but we're not abusing it, okay? Sure, we're using the smartphones to our capability to what? To push this word, this truth, okay? But when it comes down to going against what the word says and putting this inside of us, we're not supposed to do that, okay? Because not only are we uh, making or cutting flesh for the dead, we're also consulting familiar spirits by putting this device, okay? When they put this device inside your brain, you're going to be consulting familiar spirits, and we're told not to do that. So it says Leviticus 19:31, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am Yahweh your power. So, it's funny how they claim to be Christians, but yet they don't know that this device is a familiar spirit, all right? Allowing you to have AI and for it to generate and, allow your voice to be used. If you can't see that's a familiar spirit and that's wicked, I don't know what to tell you, man. Okay? I do not know what to tell you. All right? You just going off, man. And that's why this book wasn't given, to the hand of the wicked. All right? Because you seeing what they doing with it, man. Under the guidelines of Christianity, they trying to justify this as being what? Good for the faith. All right? When it couldn't be farther when it couldn't be farther from that, all right? You don't want to have familiar spirits, and like it said, it don't read the deep thoughts of your mind. BS, man. All right? It's going to get you down to a T where it can predict your every thoughts, okay? You seeing it now just by using these smartphones. If you go and type something, guess what? That computer could bring up all type of suggestions. All right, you type in pizza, you get Pizza Hut, Domino's, and other chains that you didn't even know exist. All right, so bull crap, man. This AI is becoming one with you. That's what they want. Transhumanism. Okay, transhumanism, merging man with machine. All right, AI is going to be the catalyst, man. That chip is going to be the machine. Okay, it's going to allow you to work from home. It's going to allow you to do all type of things. All right, as it said in the article, by using what? Telepathy. All right, so let's go to Revelation 13 and 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. All right, who is the he? NATO, EU, America. Who is the beast? The Roman Empire. Okay, you seeing it. All right, through America, the military is raised up like the Roman Empire had. It says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right, so we know it's talking about speaking in the sense of its policies and its ideologies, but also just look at this story, for instance. The beast, the image, is speaking, okay? Literally, the damn AI is speaking in the man's voice, okay? Now, we know the beast system is the infrastructure, but part of it is this microchip, man. All right? And having it put inside your brain, it can speak with your own voice. And it says, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right. Guess what? If you come up against the image, which is this infrastructure that they're currently, and I believe is all but finished, they just waiting on that crisis to bring it out. If you say one thing bad about it, you can be put down potentially for what? Treason. Okay? If you get caught preaching this truth, this word, because that's what famine of the word is going into, where you're no longer able to preach this truth, because why? You're going in complete and total opposition of what this fabric, this society is standing on. Okay? And that's anything but this truth. So guess what? If you get caught, it says, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. If you don't take that chip, because that's going to be you essentially showing your allegiance and worshiping this beast system is by what? You taking this chip. Okay? And some of us gonna be given that same scenario where either you gotta take the chip or you gotta have your head chopped off. Okay? Guess what? We gotta stand 10 toes down, for this word and take that and be beheaded. All right, if that be our lot. Okay, that's an honorable thing. And then we know the rest. 16 says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, that's a charagma, incision, in their right hand or in their foreheads. When they put that incision, they're going to implant that device. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So this is where they're taking it, man. You're going to have to worship the beast. You're going to have to get his mark. And if not, some of us will be killed for this truth. Okay? And we have to, put ourselves in that spirit, in that mindset. That's why we are now in the house of mourning. So we're not preparing to get ready. We're staying ready. Okay? This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9. It reads, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. You see? Having having a voice that could sound just like yours. That's a lying wonder. That's a familiar spirit, man. That's a wizard. Okay? You think that's your real voice? You see? It's just a way for you to be more at ease with what you're doing. Oh, you don't have to feel so bad about it. You can get your voice back. You see, that's a lying wonder. That's another selling point. You don't have to have a robot sounding person talk to you or talk to your loved ones. You can have your own voice. Okay? And it's easy to pull up some type of file or phone or something with you talking on it, especially in the 21st century. And that's all AI needs, a couple of words, and it can put together whatever it is you're talking about. Okay? All lying wonders. Okay? So we're going to finish up and close out. 1 Peter 5 and 8 tells us to do what? Be sober. Be vigilant. See? These Christians, they far from being sober and vigilant. These so-called Christians. Because they looking at this as something sent from God, man. Showing you they way off, man. They through. All right, you so-called Christians, y'all finished, man. Y'all going to be the first batch to take this damn chip when it comes out and it's made mandatory. Because you got to eat. God wouldn't want you out there starving. Your pastor's going to tell you, you got to eat. Take this chip. Don't worry about what them black Hebrew Israelites talking about. God don't want you out there starving. You see? Y'all going to be the first batch to take it. Because why? Y'all pretty much weren't called from the foundation. Because if you were, you would have been sober. All right? And vigilant. And knowing what time we in. Okay? It says, but because you want, it says, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So because you weren't sober or vigilant, you became food for that devouring lion to eat and chew and gnaw on. All right? And he having your voice as the AI speaks, using your voice is a small miracle, man. All right, when you really see what this devil got to sell this to the mass, you gonna really flip out, man. Okay, I still think he gonna use an infant or something like that and have this chip perform a miracle for them. You know, maybe born where they can't see or talk or hear, and they can see their parents or see their, whoever, or hear their parents or whatever. That's really gonna get the people to buy into it. Okay. So it's only going to upgrade as we get closer to them bringing this thing out for the whole mass to consume. All right. So that being said, we're going to wrap it up and pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.